On the 2nd of May, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov made a controversial statement. The question that was posed to him was rather simple. Why would Russia need to denazify Ukraine, especially when its president is Jewish? Lavrov's response triggered a controversy. Listen in to what he said.
Мы не требуем, чтобы Зеленский сдавался. Мы требуем, чтобы он
The Ukrainian president puts forward an argument. What kind of Nazification can we have if I am Jew? If I remember right, I may be wrong, but Hitler also had Jewish origins. So it doesn't mean absolutely anything. For some time we have heard from the wise Jewish people that the biggest anti-Semites were Jewish.
The Russian foreign minister suggests that Hitler had Jewish origins. The same Hitler who ordered the killing of millions of Jews. Obviously, Israel was furious. It called the statement unforgivable and scandalous. Tel Aviv even summoned the Russian ambassador for some quote-unquote tough talks.
It is an unforgivable, scandalous statement, as you said, and also, of course, a terrible historical mistake, and we expect an apology.
But the diplomatic dispute did not end there. Russia's foreign ministry doubled down on Sergei Lavrov's words, accusing the Israeli foreign minister of making quote-unquote anti-historical remarks. Moscow has now accused Israel of supporting neo-Nazis in Ukraine. It even said that Israeli mercenaries were fighting in the war in Ukraine. All of these are signs of a simmering diplomatic crisis. 6 million Jews were murdered by the Nazis during the Second World War. Lavrov's comments have sparked a storm of anger in the Jewish state. It could force Israel to burn its bridges with Russia, but can it really afford to do so? Until now, Israel was maintaining a balancing act. It expressed support for Ukraine, but was wary of straining its ties with Moscow. This is because Russia is a major power broker in neighboring Syria. Relations between Russia and Israel are based on their interests in Syria. Russia has convinced Israel that it will safeguard its security interests in Syria, and this is only if Israel does not hamper the Russian military operations there. This means Israel can continue striking Iranian targets in Syria while avoiding any clashes with the Russian forces. So the two countries basically maintain status quo. Russia continues to operate in Syria while Israel targets Iranian entrenchment on Syrian borders. And this arrangement is the reason why Israel did not openly denounce Moscow. Currently, Israel still coordinates with Russia on Syria, but the delicate strategic balance seems to be in danger. With us on the broadcast this minute is West Asia analyst Meir Javadin Fer. He's joining us from Tel Aviv. Thanks very much for being here with us. What is your reaction to this war of words that we are seeing playing out between Israel and Russia? Do you see this diplomatic friction intensifying in the days to come?
Before I answer your question, please allow me to say why Jews are very sensitive to what Mr. Lavrov said. Mr. Lavrov said that condemnation of his comments is anti-historical. His comment in the first place was wrong, and it was a conspiracy theory. The root of this conspiracy theory is this. Hitler's father was born out of wedlock. In his birth certificate, the name of Hitler's grandfather was blank. Conspiracy theories put Jewish names in there which have got nothing to do with reality. So they have blamed, using that conspiracy theory, they've said that Hitler's grandfather was Jewish. This is nothing, this is complete fake news. And unfortunately, Mr. Lavrov is not only repeated that, he's standing by it. And this is something that's very concerning. We have a large Jewish community in Russia. We have if I'm not mistaken, 200 or 300,000 Jews who are living in Russia. And so Israel is very concerned by these remarks made by Mr. Lavrov. At the same time, while Israel has shown a very strong reaction, and you could understand why. Our Foreign Minister Lapid, his own father, was a Holocaust survivor. Despite the current tough talk between the two sides, and despite Israel being rightfully angry, I think Israel is going to be careful about where this goes. Yes, this is something that is going to, this has raised anger in Israel, but I think in the long term, I think both countries are going to be careful to try not to let this situation to escalate. Whether they will succeed is another matter.
Right. I also want to get in your reaction to a series of accusations coming in from Moscow. It has accused Israel of supporting neo-Nazis in Ukraine. It even said that Israeli mercenaries were fighting in the war in Ukraine.
Look, we have had, since the breakup of the Soviet Union, we've had approximately 1 million Jews who moved here. Some of them were from Ukraine. And some of them, or their children, naturally served in the army, in the Israeli army, because it's national service. So they saw what's happening in Ukraine, and many of them went back to defend Ukraine. Because it's, their country or the country of their parents. To say that they're supporting Nazis, this is where I think Russia is losing militarily in Ukraine, and Russia is losing diplomatically just about everywhere. To say that, again, that Zelensky is a Nazi, that the Ukrainian regime, the Ukrainian government is a Nazi, that the Israelis are supporting Nazis, this is a diplomatic hole which Russia seems to be digging for itself. And it boggles the mind as to what is really happening in Moscow these days, because the Russians were very good at they have very good diplomatic skills. But this is very concerning because it's one disinformation after another. No, Israelis are not supporting neo-Nazis in Ukraine. The Ukrainian government is not neo-Nazi. They are defending their country, which has been invaded unjustifiably by Putin.
Mayor Jadon Fair, appreciate very much your joining us on the broadcast and sharing those perspectives. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.